Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching Nile Cruise on Nile TV. And dear viewers, in this segment, the fascination with King Tutankhamun began 101 years ago when British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered the pharaoh's largely intact tomb with thousands of golden treasures inside in Luxor's Valley of the Kings. Some of the treasures, including the boy king's striking gold death mask, traveled the world in temporary exhibitions before returning to Egypt. The collection will all move to what is meant to be its final resting place, the much anticipated Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza, or the GEM, on the outskirts of Cairo. And in this context, dear viewers, we are honored to host our distinguished guest, Rana Ihab, an archaeologist and heritage researcher, to know more about the Golden King. A very good day, Rana, and it's a pleasure to have you with us in today's episode of
dear.
Nile Cruise.
Thank you, dear. I'm always happy being with you with a beautiful smile. So I'm always pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much, Rana. Rana, the Grand Egyptian Museum, the GEM, held an interactive exhibition on November the 21st, celebrating the 101st anniversary of the discovery of the tomb of King Tutankhamun. Would you tell us more about this exhibition, please, and were you there?
Actually, I visited this in the first opening for the show that happened in the Egyptian Museum about the treasure of King Tutankhamun. The most amazing thing in this exhibition, this is the first time for being something amazing like this in Egypt. So it's such a great experience to be in. So just you have chairs to sit in, and everything around you is moving like sometimes you are in the middle of the Nile River, feeling everything, feeling the air, see how the King Tutankhamun passed in his life in general. So it's actually amazing. You are now in the Nile River. After a minute, you are inside the tomb of King Tutankhamun in Luxor. So it's actually amazing thing. It's describe the story or the beginning of the Tutankhamun from early birth till his death, including the discovery of his tomb. What is the newspapers talk about in all the world? They talk about the great achievement of the discovering the tomb of Tutankhamun. So it's actually such an amazing thing to visit. It's in the Grand Egyptian Museum, when we have the great museum in Egypt and in all the world, which is actually a great experience to be in. The light, the show, you found everything around you is moving. So this is amazing.
Okay, it was decided to transfer the treasures of King Tutankhamun from the Egyptian Museum to the Grand Egyptian Museum. What do you think of that decision, and why were those treasures transferred from one museum to another?
This is actually important decision nowadays. If we are talking about the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir, it's considered as the oldest and the first museum built to be a museum in all the world, and it is the oldest not only in the Egypt or in the Middle East, but in all the world also. We have overlapped in the Egyptian Museum. We have a lot of treasure there. So if we bought all the treasure in one place, so it's something why we didn't going with the different themes in different museums. So this is the right decision. This didn't mean that we didn't have monuments or objects inside the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir. For sure, we have verses and amazing things. If we are talking about the Tunis treasure or talking about Yuya and Thuya treasure, also it's something amazing to visit. The mummies, we still have the mummies of Yuya and Thuya there. We have a golden and the massive, great golden things inside the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir. But about the decision of making all the treasure of King Tutankhamun in one place, this is important because in that time we didn't have all his treasure. Some of them in Luxor Museum, some of them in Egyptian Museum in Tahrir, and the mummy even in Luxor. So it doesn't mean thing for the king. He was actually, when he created his tomb, he wanted to be all treasure be with him to the nether life. So we will do what is the tomb look like before 120 years ago, when King Tutankhamun built this tomb to be things for his afterlife, and then the collection will be again in the same place, where in the Grand Egyptian Museum. So I think King Tutankhamun, if he's still alive, he will be happy with that idea.
Okay, the Great Staircase finally is opened for visitors. The Great Staircase is considered an introduction to the gem, the Grand Egyptian Museum. Would you tell us more?
Actually, the Egyptian Museum is different in everything, in the theme of the museum itself, in the way of display the objects itself, even the ideas inside. So when you enter the Grand Egyptian Museum, the gem, you will find the one who welcoming you, actually Ramses II, King Ramses, he welcoming you in his place, because this is, as the Memphis in general is the old capital of Egypt, so he welcoming you. Then you are going around, you will find the life that we are and nowadays in the right side, and in the left side you will find everything related to the kings and related to their religion, related to their life. So here is the nowadays life, and here is the ancient life in the left side. In this side, in the left side, we have the Grand Staircase. Why it's called the Grand Staircase? Because actually it's considered as 13 levels, so it's a grand one, and each part in this staircase show how the king starts his life, then how he was ended it. So he was born as a king. What is the rituals they are doing for the king was, or the boy king when he was born, then how he become in the coronation side, how he ruled Egypt, and the final stage, now we arrive to his death. So describe everything, and when you end the Grand Staircase, it will ended with a great scene of panorama. You see the great pyramids of Egypt in this moment. So after listening or showing the history of ancient Egypt in that time, and you end the Grand Staircase, you will find the scene of the great pyramids. Now you considered why the ancient Egyptian civilization is that great.
Okay, Rana, why the tomb of Tutankhamun is considered the most famous archaeological discovery among all the antiquities?
Because when we discovered this tomb, it was completely closed from the time of his death. So no one entered this tomb after they buried the mummy of King Tutankhamun. So because we have a kind of candles on these in the doors, in the door itself of the tomb. So inside the tomb, when we enter, like the ancient Egyptian final touch on it. So no humans from modern history entered this after the ones who buried the mummy of King Tutankhamun. So everything inside this tomb is completely made from gold. Not all things, but the most things inside the tomb. But the other thing, it's not made completely from gold, but it's actually gilded by a thick layer of gold. So it's the same idea at the end. We have the tombs, the chariots, everything related to Tutankhamun and related to his life, actually buried with them. Everything there is amazing. For that reason, it's considered as the most important discovery. Now we are talking about the Yuya and Thuya that actually located in the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir. We have the same. The Yuya and Thuya tomb was important because also it was closed from the time of them.
Okay, Tutankhamun ruled Egypt when he was 9 years old and died at the age of 19 years old. How can a king be at this stage or at this age?
Actually, here is the point of why we have a royal wife. This royal wife actually called or designed like be a protector for the throne in that time. So she protected his mother, protected the throne until he became able to rule Egypt in that time.
At the age of 9 years old?
Yes, his mother ruled before of him. why he just like protects the throne of Egypt until he become in the suitable age to be a real ruler of Egypt. But if we look for the life of King Tutankhamun, actually he also died in the early age. So, but he did a lot of achievements that we discovered it in the tomb, and we discovered it in the chariots, also the words, all of things related to him said that Tutankhamun actually did things during his life. So for that reason, he be able to rule Egypt. Even if we are searching about the treasure of King Tutankhamun, we will find actually a small chair when he was a boy king and he ruled Egypt, a small throne for the boy king of Egypt at that time. He's the royal son for his father, so he's supposed to take the throne of Egypt in that time.
Okay, most of Tutankhamun's antiquities are made of gold. Would you tell us about the gold industry in ancient Egypt and its value?
To be honest, gold is very, very important because in that time the land of Egypt is rich with gold. So we are called, the other people around us called us as the land of gold in that time. So why? Because they said one of the letters that was sent for one of ancient Egyptian kings, you have a gold like a sand. Why you didn't give us a kind of gold? It's a value thing, it's a markable or something special in ancient Egyptian civilization. That doesn't mean that the other civilization didn't have gold, but we are the first, we are in the top of that. No, we will not find anyone in this world doing his bedroom, for example, any gold with the sheets of gold like what King Tutankhamun or other ancient Egyptian kings have been done in that time. And talking about the gold, because in that time we have a lot of gold, we didn't have silver, so we did a kind of campaigns to gain the silver from other places. So in that time silver is most expensive than gold in that time.
Who is Tutankhamun's family, and do we have any historical evidence about who his father and mother are and the origin of the royal family?
Yes, this point is very, very important because Tutankhamun, actually his father is the famous King Akhenaten. So why people said, okay, he's not the son of Akhenaten, because he called, or his name, Tutankhamun, and his father Akhenaten. Tutankhamun changed the religion itself from Atun to Amun again. So not all the people like actually the way how Tutankhamun think, and he didn't like the way of Akhenaten thinking, because he changed everything in the Egyptian land. He changed the capital that used to be in ancient Egypt. He changed also the theme of the architecture, or the theme of the art itself. He changed the mind, the philosophy of ancient Egyptian worship. For that reason, not all the people like him, so because they didn't like to change things a lot. But we have a strong evidence that we have a list considered all the kings who ruled Egypt, and they didn't named anyone inside this list without having the father's name or from which royal blood King Tutankhamun belonged. So he belonged to King Tutankhamun. Also his grandmother is a Queen T, that's a famous one, the wife of Akhenaten. We have Nefertari, and also he is completely royal one from the royal family.
Okay, Tut's mask is not only the only inspiring artifact, but on the contrary, there are wonderful artifacts uncovered in the tomb of Tutankhamun. So how beautiful are these treasures?
Actually, talking about the mosque, I want to mention something important in this point, because when we entered the tomb Tutankhamun for the first time, and we found a grand, it's not a grand, it's a massive rooms. It's like a small rooms. Inside this, it's called a shrine. Inside this shrine, we found 4 shrines. Okay, now we will find the mummy, and inside the 4 shrines, when we open all of them, we found the 4 coffin. Inside the 4 coffin, we have the mummy of King Tutankhamun, and on the mummy we have the masterpiece in this world, the golden mask of Tutankhamun.
Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered in the Valley of Kings in Luxor, What is the valley of the kings and why were most of the kings buried there?
Actually, in ancient Egyptian beliefs, they have something related always to the nether life. When King Thutmose I, he is the first one who created his tomb there, and actually we discovered the tomb of the vizier or the minister of Thutmose the first. When he wrote in his tomb, inside his tomb, we found a very important sentence that the Egyptian actually still use this sentence till this moment. I buried the king whereas no one sees and no one know about anything about it. So during our searches we discovered that the things he mean by this vizier is the valley of the kings. It's look like the mountain itself is look like something will never end, like a mountain. In the mountain we have the top, so it's look like the pyramids in general. So the idea why we didn't bury a kings again during the new kingdom or the middle kingdom in the pyramids, because the mind was changed between the old kingdom and the new kingdom. We have a years, it's around thousands of years. So they didn't like to bury themselves or to bury their bodies in a place all the people know about it, because we have thieves. We have a lot of people who want to take the treasure from that time. So they changed it to the place, to the hidden place. So this is a hidden place and look like also the pyramids, look like the internal life and look like where is suggest to be in the other life. So all the tombs for the kings and from the new kingdom, we were buried inside the tombs. No one they want to rest in peace actually. For that reason they choose this place. This look like the pyramid, and also it's a hidden place. No one know about it. And in the same time, it's describe everything inside the tombs related to the nether life. They buried all their treasure with them to take this to the nether life.
Okay. How did the ancient Egyptians believe in resurrection, and why was this belief?
The belief actually after death we are in this life for doing a message, for doing something. Ancient Egyptians have the same belief. They believe actually that we have, if we didn't do things in the right way, for sure we will have a punishment in the nether life after death. So how the idea or the philosophy of being or believing in the other life, it's not started in the middle in the old kingdom, because in the old kingdom they thought if you have a lot of offerings and give it to the god, now you will go to the heaven directly. But the idea was changed in the middle kingdom and in the new kingdom. They start now to believe that we have a scale, that we have a judgment in front of the god, that if you're doing good things you will go to the heaven, if you didn't go do good things, for sure you will go to the hell. And for that reason, inside the tombs of ancient Egyptian, we will find all of them just saying the laws of Ma'at. The laws of Ma'at, it's doing they are saying everything they didn't do in this life. So like I didn't float the river of the Nile river, the water of the Nile river. I didn't do any evil thing for anyone. So we have here 42 things. It's like things to telling to the God, I never do this. For that reason, I supposed to be in the heaven now. Here is the idea. What is the ancient Egyptian belief? They believe actually there is after death we have a judgment, and the judgment in front of all the gods there. We need to pass in the doors. We need to pass in everything. So in your life, you should do everything in a good way.
Perfect. Our distinguished guest, Rana Ihab, heritage researcher and archaeologist. Of course, we are always honored to have you as our guest in Nile Cruise. Thank you very much for joining us today at Al Amaniel Palace. It was our utmost pleasure, and thank you very much for your informative
Thank you,
knowledge.
Rana. Thank you, dear.